I've made it to Rotterdam after a late night train last night from Paris, and I'll be heading this morning to the city of Tilburg, a key industrial city back in the 1944. Further today, I'll be cycling then across to Eindhoven and finishing the day in the Venray and Oberloon area. Now, just a bit of context. At the end of July was when Operation Bluecoat was in full swing. The assaults on the German positions in Normandy that we've seen in previous videos. Since then, 19th of August, Paris has fallen. 3rd of September, Brussels has fallen. Also on the 3rd of September, the key port town of Antwerp has fallen to Allied hands. Now, the Allies are in Belgium. This yellow line here is the border with Holland. The Nazis are still occupying the remainder of Holland. Operation Market Garden, of course, made famous with the film A Bridge Too Far. That was devised to drop a series of airborne troops to secure bridges, and then 30 Corps, the tanks, the armour, would drive a wedge all the way up, linking up with the airborne troops to Nijmegen and eventually to Arnhem. Now, they just fell short. This is what was known as the island at the time. They just about made it to the island. They weren't able to get to the airborne troops in Arnhem. Now, as a result of that, that was the 17th of September through to somewhere around the 25th. Now we're into October, and the risk now is that this wedge that they've driven up from the Belgian border through into Holland is at risk from attack by the Germans from this side as troops were in Holland. They've still obviously got troops in this border area. This is the German-Holland border. So there's a massive risk to this wedge that they've driven. And as a result, Operation Pheasant, beautifully named, Operation Pheasant, was devised to liberate Tilburg and the likes of Hertogenbosch. So I'll be cycling in Tilburg today. This small village of Murgestil will also be key to my trip. Welcome to World War II, Don Davies. I'm in Tilburg this morning, beautiful little city in the south of Holland, liberated by the Coldstream Guards. We've got a couple of sights to see along the way. This is a memorial to Jacob Pulskens, and she was 60 years of age in 1944. She was harbouring airmen, helping resistance and assisting with Jews going into hiding. Now, in 45, the Gestapo raided her house, shot 3 airmen in her kitchen, arrested her immediately and deported her to Ravensbrück, a concentration camp, where she would later die in a gas chamber, having volunteered to take the place of another who was a mother of children, hoping to save her life. A truly remarkable woman. We have a statue here to the 15th Scots Division. Now, that's the infantry division that liberated Tilburg and the surrounding areas, but also on there is the Coldstream Guards, the Scots Guards and the Grenadier Guards, because that was the armour support for the infantry that liberated this town. Coldstreamers, it says in the battalion regimental diaries, they were quite looking forward to enjoying some of the more pleasant sides of Tilburg. The welcome they received from the public was phenomenal. People were just overjoyed to see them. But alas, it wasn't to be. They were immediately sent east. There was something brewing. I'm heading east now, out of Tilburg. This is the exact route the Coldstream Guards would have taken in the opposite direction heading into Tilburg. They fought their way along this very road. As I mentioned earlier, resistance was light, but they did lose tanks, they did lose men. So Tilburg was liberated on the 27th of October, but before then the fighting took place just outside. Now, Holland itself posed so many problems. The ground is so flat, there's so many canals here, and obviously irrigation ditches. Now, any bridges across those were being blown by the Germans. And the same happened in Mergstille. I apologised yesterday for my pronunciation in French, and I'm in Holland now, it's going to be a lot worse. Now, in Mergstille, the Scots Guards approached the bridge. They were fearful there was anti-tank positions within the village. It wasn't to be, they'd pulled out. The whole village turned out, all waving orange flags, all shouting, all singing the national anthem. It was a fantastic sight. But the bridge into the village had already been blown. Now, as they're trying to work out how to solve the predicament, the whole village decide to throw in all the boulders, all the plant pots, everything they could drag into the ditch where the stream is, in order to try and get the tanks into their village and officially have liberation, obviously to stop the Germans coming back as well. It wasn't to be. One of the tanks tried to come across where it was slightly shallower, where there were more plant pots and boulders, but the tank sank into the stream. They waited for a Churchill bridge layer, another version of the Churchill with a bridge on top with pneumatic lifts which moved the bridge over the gap. Bridge worked fantastically. The Churchills roll into town, and again, more singing. It does say food and drinks and kisses were provided by the locals. So yeah, I'm sure they'd have been pleased with that. That is actual archive footage of the efforts being made to cross this stream and get into Mergstille. The liberation was made by Scottish Infantry Regiment, and the modern day bridge is dedicated to Barberbrug, the commanding officer. I'm heading east now to Eindhoven and Overloon. Thanks for watching.